All right. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. You are tuned into the American Cream Show. I am your host, Hyacinth Henderson. And on Cream, I show you, teach you, lead you, guide you on ways to redefine the American dream with Cream. If you're new here, Cream stands for credit, real estate, entrepreneurship, assets, and mindsets. Today I have a guest, Tavares Jones, joining me today again. Hey, Tavares.
Hey, happy Saturday, everyone. As Hyson mentioned, I'm Tavares Jones. I'm also a licensed stockbroker, licensed insurance, and also annuity advisor as well.
Awesome.
How you doing today, Hyson?
Good. I'm feeling fantastic. It's another day in paradise.
Another weekend in paradise.
Another weekend. We got to take it day by day. Another day. When people ask me, someone asked me last night on Friday nights, I do a weekly wind down. So if you have not tuned in to my weekly wind down on Fridays, you're missing a great time. I do that with two of my good friends, Diana George and Dee Bowden. And Dee says, Hyson, what are you doing this weekend? And I always have to look and say, wait a minute, what's the weekend? What is that? What am I doing this weekend? Well, Saturday I'm working, and then Sunday I'll probably do more work, right? But it's another day in paradise. I am blessed and honored to be here in the simulation, and here we go. Shall we go, right?
Hey.
Shall we go? So for those of you who are new here again, so by day, I am the managing director at the Henderson Financial Group. The Henderson Financial Group is a full service financial planning and investment advisory firm. And I have to distinguish between the two because financial planning and investment advisory, they're different. There's some, synergies and they work together, but some clients are only financial planning clients and some clients are investment clients as well. So we do full service. We've been doing it for 30 years. My dad started the firm 30 years ago and I've been here. October will make 18 years. So almost 18 years I've been at the Henderson Financial Group. We're new to Facebook. I think we've been doing Facebook for maybe like a month now, maybe 4 weeks in. And I'm also streaming live on Instagram. So if you're watching this on Instagram, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. After the show, I will put it up. I'll do a little editing and I'll put it up on YouTube as well. So you can always come back to Facebook, take down notes, press rewind, run the tape back, as I like to say. And then you can find us on YouTube. And we ask you to share it. That is our only ask. What do you think about that ask, Tavares?
Well, I think that is, for as much as we're giving, I think that's a minimal ask, in my opinion. We try to provide so much knowledge, so much insight, so much information for the world, and we just ask you guys just a simple share it with your friends and family members, and let's keep the message going so we can empower ourselves.
Yeah, it's true. And that's a small ask, you're right, because now that I'm getting into the repurposing content and, putting it on YouTube and making little clips, I'm actually sitting down and watching our episodes. Now, I never used to do that before. I never used to watch and re-listen. I'm just like, whatever came out, it came out. I don't want to listen to it. But now that I'm sitting down and watching and listening to it, I am realizing that we give a ton of information.
Tons. And how much is it?
It's free.
How much does it cost?
It's free. It's free 99. Yeah. So we give all this information for you to just get started, for you to get started and say, listen, I want to change my financial future, because you really, really and truly can do that. So, don't take it for granted. And then share it. Share it with your people, because you don't want to be the only one with some money. You want your people to have some money too, right? Okay, so what are we going to talk about today?
So today, real estate.
Real estate.
That's one of the topics from the acronym, right?
Yes, that's the R in cream
acronym.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we got real estate and also retirement accounts. How about we talk about retirement as well?
Okay, double R.
401. There you go. Yeah, I like that.
Double R.
Double
okay,
R.
Let's do this.
Real estate and retirement.
Real estate and retirement accounts. Okay, so
what we starting with first?
Let's see. Mr. Henderson said something earlier that I didn't. I said, gosh, I said that last night, but it'll come back to me. Let's start with retirement accounts.
Okay, we can do that.
Let's do that. Yeah, and then because I got a little surprise for real estate. We're gonna talk. You all know, if you've been connected to me and watching me, and some in any way, shape, form or fashion, whether it's on the radio when I had the radio show. But thanks to 2020, I'm like, listen, I don't need a radio show. I could put it on the internet and reach more people. Mm-hmm. So you may have been connected with me on the radio show or the podcast. And real estate is one of my favorite things. And the show before last week, because last week we had Mr. Henderson here with us.
Yeah.
And that was a treat.
The GOAT, right?
The GOAT, right? The big kahuna.
Right, right.
The big kahuna, as he had us calling him that when we were kids, like, I'm the big kahuna. He is the big kahuna. I can say that now. But we had him on the show with us last week. So if you didn't watch that, you can catch it on YouTube. But the show before that, we started talking about real estate. And I said, when people say they don't like real estate, I really want to say, who hurt you? Like, who hurt you?
And where does that thought come from? Where does that question come from? That who hurt you? Where does that come from? Because you know multiple details about real estate, multiple strategies about real estate. And it's just a shame that the world doesn't have that information. And I guess that's where we come in at, right?
That's where we come in. Yeah.
So that way we can change you guys' thought process on the topic of real estate.
Yeah. Just introduce you to something, right? So, and what I'm going to introduce you today as it relates to real estate is good. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's almost great. Like, it's good and great together. But first, we're going to dip into retirements really quickly. Tavares, I heard you say specifically the 401ks.
Yeah, we could do
401k. I think, you know what? I think it's a great time to do that because of the state of the world right now.
Okay.
Like 2020 is in a state of renewal, right? We are rejecting some things, renewing some things, refining some things, and just rediscovering some things. And so why not talk about the 401k and what it means to you? And how to use it to your best advantage and how to be clear on what it provides. And I think that the 401k is one of those things that people go blindly into it. Okay. They're just like, oh, you got to have a 401k. You know, the HR people are telling you got to have a 401k. Right. Your mama, you tell her you got a good job. I got a good job at the county, mama. She like, make sure they even paying me benefits. Now they giving you a 401k, right? And so what I find is people just sign up for this 401k thing and they don't even know
the details of it, what it is, how it works. They just heard that it's something that they need to have, right?
So since we shaking stuff up in 2020, let's go ahead and shake this up.
Yeah, and it's funny how you just painted that picture of, you know, when you tell your family and friends that hey, I just landed this new job, and they ask you, hey, what benefits does it come with? Does it come with retirement? I was in those shoes once upon a time. Before I became an advisor here, before I was introduced to Henderson Financial, I was a revenue manager for a group of hotels, a chain of hotels on South Beach, right? And my parents asked me that same question. My family asked me that same question. Do they provide a 401k? And honestly and truthfully, then I had one, and I didn't even know what it was. I didn't even know what it was. I was so lost. And not only was I lost, but everyone around me, all my coworkers were lost. People in the human resource department were lost. It was just a requirement on their to-do list as their job. Everyone has to sign up for this plan.
It's a badge of honor.
Yeah, it appears to be.
Okay, now.
From what I know now, it appears to be.
Okay, it appears to be. Before we get into it, I want to get some quick shout outs. I have I hooked up my wireless mouse, so now I can actually control the comments and everything while I'm on Facebook, right? So I'm so fancy, right? So I see we got Valerie here. What's up, Valerie? Miss Redhead, thank you so much for sticking and staying. Erica Owens, hey girl, I saw you on my Instagram last night for the Wind Down Masterclass. If you can, drop a note in the comment and let the people know how you felt about the masterclass. Just give us a quick recap. And if you don't want to do a recap, just tell us if it benefited you in any way. June, thank you so much for joining, June. You are always here. I appreciate your commitment to furthering your financial future. Damian Nelson, what's up, Damian?
Hey, Mr. Nelson.
I saw that you purchased the Black Folks and Money audio book. You purchased that last week. If you've had a chance to listen to it, please drop a comment. Tell us what you think. Tell the folks if they need to get it, if they need to get it now, but not right now. Just go ahead and drop something in the comment. We appreciate that. CK Black, Curtis Kegler, thank you so much for always being here. And Miss Dorothy, Miss Henderson, thank you so much for being here as well. I feel all y'all's energy. And yes, I did say all y'all's. All y'all's energy, right? So, all right, so let's get into the 401k. So the 401k is presented to us as something that we must have. It's presented to us as something that defines whether we have a good job or not, right? And so what do you think about the 401k? What's something that the people should know about the 401k?
Well, the biggest thing, well, all the topics are pretty big. I'll just say for starters, that money is directly in the stock market, right? So when I say that money is directly in the stock market, the stock market goes up and down as we know it, right? I'm pretty sure you guys all saw the news lately within the past few months since March, and in March actually the stock market took a huge dip, right? So imagine having your lifetime savings, your retirement savings, money that you plan to have for yourself when you plan to stop working, right? In the stock market, something that's so fickle, something that's so, I don't want to call it unreliable, but I want to call it unreliable at the same time. So I'll just start with that one.
Okay.
Imagine having your money there.
Okay, so let's think about it for a minute. Now, the 401k, for those who are unaware, and maybe you've heard it, but you just, you shuffled into HR and you're like, listen, we got a 401k. Yes, sign on the dotted line. A 401k is a retirement vehicle. It's a retirement account where you can defer your income. So what you'll do is you'll make contributions based on deferred income. So instead of you being taxed when you get paid from your employer, you will defer it into a 401k account. And what that means is you aren't taxed on that money.
What does defer mean? I see that's kind of like a...
It's a big word, right? It can be a big word.
It can be tricky.
It can be tricky. You're right. Thank you for bringing me back.
Yeah, let's give it to him.
So defer means, so what that means is, let me just give it to you in numbers. So let's say you make $50,000 a year, and they say, hey, you make $50,000 a year, and you're going to be taxed on that $50,000 a year. However, if you put $10,000 or $5,000 into a 401k, then you won't pay taxes on it that year. You can defer the taxes. And defer is a fancy word for put them off. Because most people hear the word defer and they believe somewhere in the telephone game, right? The message gets lost in translation, and people start to believe that, oh, I won't have to pay taxes on this $50,000. Somebody's messaging me while I'm on the air. Y'all know I can't. Don't do that. don't Facebook message me while I'm on the air. I can't do both, right? So what they are saying is, okay, bring it back, Hyacinth. Train of thought. Okay, boom. What you think they're saying is whatever amount you contribute to your 401k, you never have to pay taxes on. And that's not true. What they are saying is the amount that you contribute to your 401k, you're going to have to pay taxes on that later, down the line. Deferment means later. It does not mean never. Now, it sounds all fine and dandy, but what I found is that most people forget that they're going to have to pay taxes on it later.
You're right.
How do we know that? We've been doing this. I've been doing it for 18 years. And most of the clients, I would say 95% of the people who come in here and want to withdraw money out of their, because by the time they move from a 401k, they roll it into an IRA when they're retired. When they want to withdraw money out of their IRA, and I have to tell them about the taxes that they have to pay, they're so surprised. They are so surprised. So when you think about that, when you think about the 401k, it's a retirement vehicle. Your employer is going to say, listen, you put some money up and I'm going to put some money up as well. We're going to call that a match. And while you're putting money up, you don't have to pay the taxes on it. Keep in mind, you don't have to pay the taxes right now. Right? So it sounds good. Sounds fair enough.
Until it's time to take the money out.
Well, until it's time, but at first glance, when they tell you that, they're like, yeah, listen, we're going to match your money. You don't got to pay taxes on it. You're like, sign me up.
Right.
Really. Now, see, Tavares, you're thinking about it because you're educated now.
Right.
You're educated.
I'm following you.
So you're like, maybe, but really and truly, the average American, it doesn't matter how educated you are, unless you're educated in this field, unless you're knowledgeable about this, you're thinking this is a great deal. And it can be a great deal if you know all of the pieces of the puzzle. So what people do is they defer their income and they put it into this 401k, and then they allow it to grow and grow and grow and grow. And where does it grow at, Tavares?
It grows in the stock market, right? And the stock market it's a good place to invest your money. We don't want to bash the actual stock market because we are stockbrokers. But when it comes to, like I said earlier, having your long-term savings, money that you have to rely on, you need this money to live because you plan on stopping working sometime soon. You need all the money that you can get. So basically, it's good to ask yourself, are there any options out there? Are there any alternatives out there to where I can save my money to where I'm not losing anything, right? Because you already know that you have to, well, now you know you have to pay taxes on it, since Heisey just told you guys what deferred means and how the whole deferred aspect of the 401k works. But also, that covers the tax part. But what about the growth and locking in that growth and, you know, maintaining that growth is really important. Really important.
And so, good points, T. When you talk about the stock market here, I love the stock market, right? I love the stock market because I am educated on the stock market. Let me say that again. I love the stock market because I am educated on the stock market and how to invest in the stock market. The average person who is waltzing into their job and they're just excited to be employed and have a 401k, you know nothing about the stock market. So when you say that it can grow a lot, you can lose a lot, that is true. And it makes me question if that's a great place to put your retirement money, right? So now here's the thing. Now, the stock market is a long-term play. Let me say that now. I know that in 2020, there's a lot going on. People are day trading. You're reading all these stories about these young folks making all this money in the stock market. And that's cool, right? But you have to know where that fits into your personal financial life. How does that affect your personal financial life? Because all day long, the people who gain and build massive amounts of wealth in the stock market, we understand that it's a long-term play. I'm not dipping in and dipping out. I'm understanding that it's something that I am allocating a set amount of money over here. This is not my new tire money. This isn't my baby need to go to school. You know, this isn't my prescription money. This is money that I'm allocating for a long-term investment. This is the squirrel putting away their nuts. So when you think about retirement, you're like, okay, well, I can understand why people will put their money into the stock market or why the 401k is designed that way. But you have to educate yourself on it. And then you have to think about as you're nearing retirement. So what does that mean? For a 20-year-old or a 30-year-old, maybe investing their 401k in the stock market, that may sound like a good play.
It may.
If they're educated and if they are with someone who is helping them select their investments. And 9 times out of 10, that's not happening.
I have a story time for that one.
Yeah, because people call and they're like, I don't know what it is. I don't know. I just changed it to what my coworker had, and I don't know what's what. Let's hear your story, T.
When I was at the hotel, right, the HR manager came into our office. We had an office. It was like a room, and it had about 10 desks in there of the corporate side of the financial of the hotel group, right? So she walked in. She had 10 forms, and she passed them all out to us. And she said, "You guys have to pick your 401k selections. What you want your 401k to be invested in." Heisey just said, you know, you're not educated on the stock market, but they want you to pick how you want your funds, your retirement funds, to be invested. So what we did was we just copied each other. Hey, what do you have, and what are you gonna do? And people were like, hey, I had my investments like this last year. I'm gonna just repeat the same thing. And we just I ended up just doing a mix of everybody in the room and just turning it into HR. And needless to say, my 401k didn't really perform like it should have because I didn't seek expert counsel. I got advice from people that didn't know what they were doing. So it's really important to actually, if you want to get into something, you want to know all about it. And that's what we're here for, to educate you guys. We don't want to bash anything. We just want to inform you guys to help you make an educated decision, for your future and for your life.
Yeah, because it's a place for everything.
Right.
There's a place for everything, especially if you're building this beautiful picture. You may need, the color blue, and then you may need a little bit of the color red. If you put a little bit too much yellow, people may not be able to see, so there's a place for everything as you're building something. But this goes back to the old adage, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Right.
And then most importantly, be educated. Right? Be informed. Educate yourself. And if you aren't going to educate yourself, get with someone who is educated. We do this. I tell y'all all the time, I go to sleep with books in my bed every night. Every night. It's me and them books. And it's more than one because I read multiple books at one time, right? But that's what we do, because I understand that I got to know this so that I can educate others. And I'm passionate about it because y'all know I'm passionate about, education, empowerment, and elevating my people. That's what we're doing here. It's 2020. I'm being bold and upfront about it. Okay, so the 401k, we understand that it's tied to the stock market. We understand that most people don't understand what that means. And the stock market, a big one is the stock market goes up and down. It does this. So if you're nearing retirement, let's say 2020 was your year to retire, and March came when the market, did you retire?
Do you think it was? Oh, not at all. And do you think, are you now having second thoughts about having your money in the retirement, as far as your retirement money in the stock market? after a month like March of 2020 of this year actually.
Yeah, think about it. And then really and truly, we think another one's coming. When I think, let me not say we, let me speak for myself. I think another dip is coming and I'm ready for the dip. And as always, I'm ready for the dip only because just what's going on. I think we're going to be in this space for a while. We got some challenges coming around the corner, but we got to capitalize on those challenges. So when you start thinking about the 401k, let's give a recap, then I'm going to slide into this real estate thing. Understand that it's tied to the stock market. Understand that your taxes are deferred. You're going to have to pay taxes on that at some point. You may not be paying taxes on it right now, but you're going to have to pay taxes on it. And then also understand that if you want to take your money out of your 401k or any qualified retirement account before the age of 59 and a half, you are going to be penalized on that. They're going to slap you on the hand and say, wait a minute, you said this is for retirement. Now all of a sudden you want your money because your girls want to go to Cabo and you want to go to Cabo and you don't have your savings account together. Okay, we'll let you have some money, but slap 10% penalty. And then because you never paid the taxes on it, you got another slap. So I'm taxing you 20% off top because you're taking money out of this account before 59 and a half. So when you think about that, and I talk to people who call the office and I start, doing just a check, data gathering and saying, where's your money, where are your assets? When you have all of your money in a 401k, all of your money in an IRA, ask yourself, what does that mean to you? Ask yourself, what are you going to do in case of an emergency? Are you going to, or can you afford to take that 20% slap on the hand because you want to pull money out before 59 and a half? And if the answer is no, I can't afford to do that, or I don't want to do that, then we have to start thinking about where else we can invest our money, where else we can put our money so that if we need to touch it, we need to touch it. Although your investment account is not your savings account. Let me say that again. Your investment account is not your savings account, but we got to be educated on these things that we have. So when I hear people starting new 401ks, when I hear people talking about 401ks, my number one question is why? What's your goal? Because if your goal is to get to the promised land of financial freedom and retirement, the 401k may not be the answer for you. The 401k may not be, I know it's been presented as the only option or the best option for you, but there are other options that are out there and that are available to you to get you to your goal. So we must stay focused on what our goal is and not really worry about the tools, right? Because we really and truly, we got a whole bunch of tools that we can use to build this house. I'm going to blow your mind when I talk about real estate. I'm going to introduce a tool that may be new to you guys, but the same thing applies to retirement. What's a tool? What's an answer to the 401k that people don't readily know about, but we can use? Because if their goal is to get to retirement and have a large sum of money and be able to live a comfortable retirement, then how else can they achieve that goal without the restrictions of a 401k?
The best tool is going to definitely be an IUL, right? And when I say IUL, it's going to be an index.
Wait, I got to stop you. You can't say the best. Rewind. We can't say the best tool. We are registered. We don't want FINRA and SEC knock Hyacinth. I seen you put it on Instagram and Tavares said the best. Let's take that back. An available tool is the IUL, because we don't know what's best for you until we sit down and look at your personal situation. So one of the tools is
So an alternative is going to be an IUL, right? Index Universal Life. And when you save your money in Index Universal Life, you have potential to lock in the stock market gain. So when the stock market goes up, your savings account inside of that IUL can go up as well. And when the stock market goes down, you're protected. You can't lose a dime.
Wait, so the IUL is in the stock market too?
It's in this. It's attached to the stock market. It's not in, but it's attached to.
Okay.
Right. And
So
when I
that's
say
like
attached, meaning that's what the I in Index Universal Life comes in. I'm going to give you guys some information, right? So it charts the stock market for when the index goes up, right? When the market goes up, like I said, your savings account will go up as well. And it also has that downside protection. So when you, let's say a month like March will just take place, or let's say maybe 2021 may not be the best year for the stock market, your IUL won't reflect that loss or the downside.
Okay, so it seems like kind of the best of both worlds, where you can take advantage to some of the gains in the stock market. So when it goes up, like when it's good, it's good. But when the stock market is like, listen, we having one of those days, then you're safe. So it's almost like an elevator. When the market goes up, you go up. When the market goes down, you don't move.
You stay the same.
You stay the same. As opposed to if your 401k is directly invested in the stock market, which 99% of people are. I know there's that 1% like, I don't have my 401k, I got to hear. Okay, I'm not talking to you. But the 99% of the people who are, when that stock market goes up, your account goes up. And when the stock market goes down, your account goes down. And here's the thing, recovering, imagine you running and you giving full steam, you're running a race and you're like charging full steam ahead, you're giving it all you have, and someone pushes you down. They push you down to the ground and you get knocked down. How quickly are you going to be able to get up, get yourself together, get that same stride and momentum going to be running at the maximum speed in which you were running at before? It's going to take a little bit, right?
Right. Or to get back in the same place that you were in before.
Right.
If you fall down, you got your competitors are passing you.
Right.
And they're passing you pretty fast. So you have to get back up, gather yourself, release your anger from the person that pushed you, and, get back focused, and then, get back on your hunt when, start back sprinting again. So that was a perfect analogy, honestly.
You
really
like that? I just really pulled it out of thin air. Thank y'all, Egun. So, listen, when you when your investments go down, yes, they could go back up. You're gonna ride it out, but it takes a little bit more momentum. It takes a little bit more. You got to get the strength back a little bit to say, okay, now it's going to take a lot of work, a more effort for me to even get back to where I was before I took that dip. And then I have to recover the losses. So I want you to think about that. And again, we love the stock market. I think the stock market is a great way to build long-term, massive amounts of wealth, but you got to be educated. You got to know what's in your basket and what's the use for them. Okay. All right, let's get into real estate. So again, y'all know I love me some real estate. And I thought about it. I says, well, some people are afraid of real estate, I think, because people are uneducated on real estate. If you tuned into the masterclass last night, I talked about, and the ironic part about it is, this morning, Mr. Henderson, on his show, I heard him mentioning the fact that if you want to learn anything, you got to really study it. You're not just a black belt in karate just because you move to the next level. You have to really study the moves and be, really commit yourself to learning the moves and the discipline and things like that to really be a black belt. Just because you have a black belt doesn't mean you have black belt skills. And on the masterclass last night, I said the same thing. I said, whatever it is that you do, we were talking about entrepreneurship, whatever license that you have, whatever it is that you do, the game doesn't stop when you get licensed. That's when the game starts. There are so many ways for you to niche down, so many avenues for you to say, okay, I have a real estate license, or I want to invest in real estate. Let me think about these opportunities. And let me not only think about what's available in front of me, because when most people think about real estate, the first thing you think about when I say get you some real estate is you want to get a piece of property for you to live in and for you to do cartwheels in your drawers. Y'all heard me say that all the time, right? You want to go have you something. It's my nice house because they told me I've achieved the American dream once I buy a house. And so that's what Hyacinth means by get you some real estate. That is not what I mean by get you some real estate.
Tell them what you mean.
What I mean by get you some real estate is get you some real estate that is going to throw off income for you, that's going to give you a return on your investment. And if you live in the property, you are not getting a return on your investment. That's a conversation for another day. So then people start thinking investment property. So when you think about investment property, you can do what most people today, especially, I don't want to say most people, but there's a group of people today who aren't really interested in buying and holding. They're interested in flipping. They're interested in wholesaling. They're interested in quick money and quick, income. And that may work for some people. But then some people say, you know what, I'm going to purchase a piece of property and I'm going to hold on this forever. I'm going to leave it to my children's children, right? So those are what you think about when you think real estate. So those are generally the three areas that people think: personal property or investment property that I'm going to flip real quick, or investment property that I'm going to hold on. Today, I want to introduce to you billboard investing as a form of real estate. I said billboard investing. Billboard investing is the smallest and the cheapest and requires the least amount of attention. And it's a real estate investment.
Wow. You said the smallest.
Smallest.
You said the cheapest.
And the cheapest.
And there was one more detail you said?
And it requires the least amount of attention.
Wow.
So for the people, remember 2 weeks ago, people were saying they didn't want to deal with the rubber duckies down the toilet.
That sounds like marriage material right
That's
there. That sounds like marriage material.
Wait, married, small, cheap, and no attention?
Oh, my
Damn,
God.
you don't want to put in no work?
Oh, my
Y'all got to
God.
watch him, ladies. Watch him. But listen, for those who don't want to deal with the rubber ducky down the toilet,
You're right about that.
they may want to invest in billboards and real estate. So I'm going to give you a quick overview of this. I'm not going to go into too much details. Time doesn't allow. Plus, there's no one size fits all, right? But I just want to wet your palate a little bit. I want to introduce this to you so you can think wider, because remember, 2020 is the year where we're shaking everything up. We're shaking it up and we're like, oh, okay, I didn't know that existed. Now I know it existed. You got to do the work. You got to go down a rabbit hole and really study this thing, really do your research, and then determine if it's a great investment for you. Okay, so billboards rent for hundreds of dollars a month. I want you to think about the billboards in your community. What billboards come to mind in Miami for you?
The accident ones, when you fall on, the little pain, the little consultation.
What location? Let's see if we're going to think about the same location. Think Miami-Dade. What location billboards can you think of?
Bus benches, billboards on the
What area is what I'm asking?
I-95 and the black communities, basically.
Okay,
in the
so
black communities.
Yeah, black community. One of the ones that come to mind for me is on 119th Street in Miami.
22nd Avenue.
22nd. You see? Come on, I had to pull that out of you. Come on.
I was mostly thinking about 135th and 22nd.
I didn't think about that, but I think about 119 and 22nd Avenue. If you're listening and you know what billboard I'm talking about, drop a note in the comments, right? And then I'm also thinking about, back in the days, there was a billboard. Was that on 79th Street in like Biscayne? I can't remember. I may be screwing that one up, but definitely 119th. And then ironically on I-75, I would say late last year, I saw a billboard. And I had to ask myself, I said, Dag Hyacinth, you've been taking this route for years. Have you always missed this billboard? Or is it now what's being advertised on the billboard catching your attention? What's going on? But after learning and researching about billboard investing, I realized that there was likely not a billboard there. They put the billboard there and now it's catching my attention. Okay, so I want you to just hold that in the front of your mind. So they rent for hundreds of dollars a month and they require a little bit of attention. Now, the value in renting a billboard or owning a billboard is in a permit that allows the billboard to be rented. That's the value. The value is in the permit. What do I mean by that? When you acquire a billboard, whether you are constructing it or you're buying it, billboards can only be placed within a certain space. So you can't have a billboard here and a billboard or feet neck later. You can't have too many billboards in one space.
Okay.
So once you acquire the appropriate permits of obtaining a billboard in a certain location, then you cancel out the competition.
Right. I was just going to say that. You kind of beat me to the punch.
Come on now.
Okay.
It protects you against the competition.
Got you.
So that's like having the block on lock.
That's you're right about that.
Come
You're right
on.
about that. Wow. So that's not like having a Wendy's on one side of the street and McDonald's on the other side of the street.
No.
You can't get the two burgers. Okay.
No.
Okay.
You can't do that. If you want to advertise on my billboard, I got this thing locked down.
Right. For this
For this area. This
okay.
area, you got to pay me.
Yeah, okay.
Okay? So that brings me to my next point. Location is key. Now, I want y'all to stick with me because this is some good stuff, okay? Location is key. The location is regulated by the government. That may be the United States, the larger U.S. government, your local state government, your county government, your city government. It depends when you're doing your research, because remember, and if you didn't catch Mr. Henderson's show, you got to go back and catch the masterclass, because I talked about this. There is no quick fixes in anything you want to be the master at. There is no quick fixes. That reminds me of when I thought I was going to be a black girl person who plants as a group, black girl house plants or something. I started buying them plants and them suckers started dying. I was like, wait a minute, I'm buying them and they dying. I'm putting water in them out, but they dead. It's because I needed to pay them attention. I need to learn their watering schedule, what kind of soil they need. I got to take them out the pot every now and again. Oh my God, I might have to get rid of them plants.
So this billboard investing is the opposite of the plants. Don't require much attention.
But you still got to learn it.
You right about that.
You
right
still
about
have
that.
to learn
Right
it.
about
Same
that.
thing with plants. So there are some plants like succulents, they don't require that much attention. But I still have to learn the watering schedule because if I try to water a succulent every day, it's going to die.
Gotcha.
But I have to learn what it needs
Gotcha.
before I can say, okay, you don't require much attention.
Gotcha.
So there's going to be a learning curve in the beginning. So as you're listening to me, I'm opening your eyes, but I would not be doing you justice if I didn't tell you that you're going to have to do more research. It's going to require attention. And when we get to the rate of return, you're going to be like, oh, okay, yes, this is worth it for me to do the research. Okay, so location is key. It's regulated by the government. I already said it's only allowed in certain locations, protection against competition. So you got your block on lock. So the first thing you want to do is you want to find a location with the most vehicles, right? So we don't want a billboard in an area that doesn't get a lot of traffic.
Right.
Why? Why don't we want a billboard in an area with no traffic?
It's gonna be hard to get attendance. It sounds like if you're in the business of advertising, you want to get as many eyes as possible on your billboard, and to do that, you got to be where the most foot traffic or car traffic is. You know.
You see how that worked? So he took it all the way down. He said, wait a minute, it's about billboards, but it's about traffic.
Right.
It's about tenants, it's about advertising. If I want this billboard, I don't just want to get excited because nobody has a billboard here and I think I've looked up and now it's winner chicken dinner.
Right.
Like I got the billboard here, but ain't nobody passing by.
Right. Which goes back into the education. Before you actually select that proximity, you want to select a vacant area.
Yep.
You know, you want to do your due diligence, as Heisen was just saying.
Got to do your due diligence. Okay. So the location with the most traffic. Then you're going to move into targeting. Targeting says you're going to find out who has jurisdiction over this place, over this space. Is it the state? Is it the county? Is it the city? Is it all three? Who do you need to talk to figure out the process to get started on putting a billboard here? Then you're going to move to sorting. Sorting talks about driving around. You got to get out and do something. It does me or you no justice for you to sit here and listen to this live or watch this YouTube and like, okay, yeah, billboards. I'm going to hit a quick Google search and then I forgot about it. No, you got to actually get out there, drive by the areas, do your research. Once you find out again who has jurisdiction over that space, you got to go to their website, make some phone calls, look at the applications. You want to figure all these things out. Then after you do that, then we're going to talk about the money. Notice I didn't start with the money, because if you start with the money, then you might be blinded to all the other stuff. Right? So we didn't start with money, and that's in anything that you do. If you just start with money, that's even in dating, right? Oh, he just seemed flashy. He got a lot of money. I see him with his Rolex watch and his red bottoms and his Ferrari and stuff. You start with money, this man might be a serial killer. You know what I mean? He might eat his boogers.
So you want to get the important details first. You want to get the foundation of it first,
right?
The
and
things
then,
that bring in the money first.
Yeah. And then you be like, oh, by the way, you got some money? Because you got to have some.
So the money is the additive.
The additive.
It's not the why.
It's
right?
not the why.
Okay.
You can't give me with just money.
The money is the
but
sauce
you're going to
on
need
top.
you some money. All right. Income potential. You're going to need you a lot of money. All right, let me bring it back. You just tickle, huh? You tickle. But it's true. And think about that.
I like how you just slid it in right before you took your sip.
Slid
You
it
picked
in.
it up. But you're going to need some money.
You don't need the money because my DMs be popping. So don't get it twisted. Okay, income potential. So you're going to determine what income you can possibly receive from this location of this billboard. Now, once you do all that, then you're going to think about construction. Now, I want to say, if you're new to billboard investing, you may start off by buying a billboard from someone else. But I want you to know that some people, and you have the option to construct or to build your own billboard. Hyacinth, how much does it cost to build a billboard? Well, it depends. You can build a billboard from $1,000 to $30,000. It depends on the type of billboard, the location, the type of ads you want to run there. Right? So it really depends on what you want. But to know that you could probably get a good billboard for about $5,000. How many of y'all got $5,000 sitting?
Hey.
Right? So that's why I said it's the cheapest.
Yep. Okay.
One of the cheapest.
Okay.
Right? One of the cheapest ways for you to get into real estate. Okay. So then, as if you're going to build your billboard, then of course you'll have to go through the permitting process and things like that. Now let's talk about management. Let's talk about management, because although I said it requires the least amount of attention, it does require some attention.
Right.
Just like that wife you want who requires the least amount of attention. If she's only going to take a little bit of attention from you, oh, you showing up in other ways. You dropping cash off. You leaving money on the dresser. Like, you showing up in other ways.
So it's trade-offs, basically, is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Got you.
Absolutely.
Got you.
Okay, so
You can't have your cake and eat it too. You gotta
you cannot.
choose one or the other. You gotta give to get.
You got to give to get. Okay, so the management means when you go into people's, remember, Tavares said it's advertising. So we're talking about billboards, but what you're really doing is you're finding people to pay you to advertise on your billboard. That's where the money comes in. And we usually do this with 6-month terms or 12-month terms. Okay. I'm not dealing with nobody who only want to advertise on my billboard for 1 month. Mm-hmm. I don't got time for that. Who could be bothered? We're not doing that. So 6-month terms or 12-month terms. Now, there are management companies who will do this for you. There are advertising management companies that'll do. So you got to figure out, is this, you want to shuffle this responsibility off to someone else? What do you think about using a management company to run the advertising for your billboard business?
As you talk about it, it's so funny because it relates. Before, when you first asked the question about the billboards, because we didn't really discuss this before the show. So before, like when you brought up,
I got it.
When you brought up the idea of billboards, I never thought how much it would relate to real estate, actual real estate. But you spoke about the pricing, you spoke about the proximity, you spoke about tenants. You spoke about when you purchase it, you have to know who owns it first. You know, are you going to build it like you can build a home, or are you going to just purchase a home that's already up? So it's amazing how many similarities. And then you tell me there's a management, there's a company that can manage it for you, just like you can have a property manager. Oh,
because
wow.
it is a real estate investment.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's a real estate investment.
Okay, you got my attention. I'm listening.
Good. So for me now, I want you to think about this. Well, would I immediately, if it's my first time at the rodeo, would I hire an advertising management company? What's your answer to that?
I wouldn't.
Bingo.
Because the reason why I wouldn't is because I need all my chips. If I'm new to this investment, I want to maximize my income so I can get another one. And another one, and another one. And then once I get to, once it gets out of hand, or once it becomes too much for me to manage, then I can hire someone to where, because once you hire someone, that's an additional expense to your business. Because let's not get it twisted. This is a business, right? And when it comes to expenses, you want to keep those as minimal as possible.
Absolutely. I love that.
That's
I
my
wouldn't
take on
either.
it.
Yeah, I agree. We're in alignment with that. I would not, for my first one, I wouldn't hire a management company, because not only do I not want to share my money at that point, but I want to learn the business.
Yeah.
I want to learn. I am big on learning. Like, I want to have the experience, and I want to experience it again and again, because while I'm experiencing this, I'm taking notes. And by me taking notes, I'm learning other avenues, other ways. I'm going down the rabbit hole. When you're open to learning, you go down the rabbit hole to receiving information that you didn't even know existed.
Right.
Just like today, you're open to learning. You're tuned into the American Cream Show, and you're going down the rabbit hole of, dag, I didn't even know Billboard as real estate investment was an option.
I know.
So I am, I'm not hiring a management company, but you can, and know that, like T said, it's nothing free in life, right? You're going to have to pay them to do that. Okay. All right. So acquisition, I already mentioned, you can also buy a billboard. For your first one, you might want to say, well, let me buy it. Let me, figure this out. And then if I acquire a second or third, maybe I want to build those. Okay. Note. Okay, so it leads me right inside. I did good writing this outline. Pat yourself on the back, brush his dirt off his shoulders. I do it for myself because they be hating at the Henderson Financial Group.
Next point, please.
See, that's how they do me. So, oh no, you don't need to have many. You can start with one, but I recommend that you as you plan or you go into it saying, I want at least three. At least three at a minimum. DeLawrence Moore on Facebook, shout out to DeLawrence Moore, says another way to put another pot on the stove.
That's your slogan.
That's my slogan.
That's your slogan. You might as well get a shirt made.
Listen,
it is you, and put another on the bottom.
How many pots you got on the stove? Yeah. That means he is a loyal American Cream listener. Yeah. Pots on the stove for me equate to money. That means if I got a lot of pots on the stove, I'm not going to be hungry. My stomach not going to be touching my back because I got these pots on the stove. So great point, DeLawrence. Okay, so you want to buy at least 3 billboards and be comfortable with managing them before you kind of look into saying, okay, I got this, I learned what I needed to learn, and now I'm going to go out to a management company. Now, I know you're asking, okay, you're telling me this, how much is the rent on this? So per 4-week period, You can rent billboards, and it depends on the area, from $375 to $400 a month. The expenses that you might have to pay probably will average about $75 a month. It depends. If your billboard has lights, you're going to have to pay an electricity bill, right? That's something to think about. Do you want your billboard to have, I'm not talking about the digital billboards, because those are definitely going to be a higher cost, right? And you may graduate to that. But right now, even your standard billboard, do you want people to see that message at night?
Well, if you have that added expense, you can charge your tenant more money for that.
Absolutely.
Because that's an additional feature.
Absolutely. Okay, so now that I've laid this down, what are you thinking about? How can I start out? We are broadcasting live from Miami, Florida, right? Miami, Florida is a major city. Most of you are listening from Miami, Florida, but a great deal of you are listening from all over the world. What does that mean? I'm saying if I was getting into billboard investing, I probably would not start out in Miami, Florida, because the prices for a major city are going to be more expensive. So a lot of people, when we tell them to go buy a property or a rental property up the road or somewhere down the street, they're saying, oh, well, who's going to management? Well, with the billboard, the management is less. So you can open up your mind and say, you know what? I want to look at a billboard in a medium or small city. Don't get caught up in where you are. What I'm basically saying is you don't got to be there. You don't got to live down the street from the billboard.
I like that.
That opens your possibilities.
Yeah, I like that a lot, because and also because you want to drive that area, right? Because I heard you say that earlier. You want to drive that area, make sure it's enough foot traffic in there to make sure the deal makes sense. And as you're going in that area, you may then start driving around and stumble across real estate there, and that can open your mind and lead to other pots on the stove.
You see how that works?
It can lead to other pots on the stove, because now you're familiarizing yourself with the area, and then you become more open-minded to invest in property there. And you're like, hey,
come on now,
look at that property.
You see how that works?
How much is that? Wow.
But you got to do something.
Yeah, definitely.
You got to do something.
Definitely.
You got to start somewhere. Because if you're just sitting at home watching us on the American Cream or scrolling Instagram and like, Dad, it's 2020 and this is not my year, I'm going to wait till 2021. You never know what opportunities are out there.
And going back to the show we had last week, remember, it all starts with a thought.
It all starts
with a thought and belief.
Absolutely.
But once you believe, you got to put action behind it.
Absolutely. So you have that thought. You're like, Dad, you know what? I'm going to look in a medium or smaller city that has high traffic. And yes, you're going out to observe the area and things like that, but you're going to also use the tools and get the actual factual reports. Because you might go out there and everybody sleep. Everybody in quarantine. City in quarantine, ain't nobody on the road, right? Everybody's social distancing. And don't let that deter you, but there are actual reports that you can pull to educate yourself. And they're numbering this. Remember, all these traffic poles and cameras and light poles, they got cameras on them. What you think they're doing with this data? The data is available for you. So, but as Tavares said, as you go there, you may be open up to different opportunities. You're like, Dad, I didn't even know this was here. Look at this house down the street. I could buy this house, or whatever the case may be. So let's get into the money. How much time I got left? 46 minutes. Okay, then we're going to read some Facebook comments. So let's say you purchased your first billboard, or you constructed your first billboard, and you rent it for $375 per 4-week period. Now, notice I didn't say $375 per month. We rent these by 4 weeks, and that means you're going to get 13 $375 payments. Okay. Because guess what? 4 times 13 is 52 weeks in a year.
Okay.
Remember, because some months have 5 weeks, some have 4 weeks. It depends. So you're not going to rent them by the month. You're going to week them by the week period. So if you rent something for $375 per 4-week period, and they lock you them into a 12-month contract, then you're going to get 52. You're going to cover all 52 weeks, and the annual payment is $3,250.
Okay.
So if someone says, I'm going to advertise, and you rent it, after expenses, you're clearing $375. Let's say you purchased that billboard for $8,500, right? You said, this is my first time. I don't want to go through the process of learning how to build it and all that stuff. Yeah, I'll get there. But for the first time, I want to see if what Hyacinth is talking about is true. Let's say you purchased it for $8,500, and by the end of 12 months, right? By the end of the whole 12-month period, you made $3,250. That's a 38% rate of return on your investment.
It's not bad at all.
Not bad.
That's not bad at all.
Not bad.
At all.
38% rate of return.
At all. You can't get that at the bank.
Your bank ain't even giving you 1%.
And then, to tie it to the stock market conversation we had earlier, it's no drops. It's constant, you know, because people want to advertise. Everybody got businesses nowadays. Everybody entrepreneurship. If you go on Instagram, everybody the CEO of something. You know, if you look in the bio, CEO of something. So, yeah, okay.
That's a 38% return. Are you up now?
Okay.
Are you up? I hope you up.
Okay.
Do me a favor. If you haven't shared this video already, please hit the share button. I'm going to give you 2 seconds to go ahead and hit the share. I should see lots of shares coming through. It's 25 of y'all on here right now. I just gave like life-changing information. You could even teach your children how to do this. Imagine if you're taking your children along for the ride. They're right there with you at the computer researching. They're going for the ride. Then you're like, mommy owned that billboard. You're planting them seeds earlier.
Low startup cost. Wow,
Listen.
$8,500.
$8,500. Now you telling all your friends and family members, stop buying little tink them toys and them Jordans for Christmas.
Right.
Go ahead and give them the cash. We're going to put it in this account. And then you buying tink a billboard.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Wow.
So you got to share this information. You got to share this information. I told you, 2020, this is the bust out year. Ain't no longer playing small. This is, we are doing what? Educating my people. We are empowering my people so that we can elevate my people. That's what we're doing. So by now, everybody should have shared this video. Okay, so that's 38%. So now remember, this is different from renting property. Y'all know I love renting property, but even on a property rental, if you had a tenant for 12 months, when that tenant moves out, you got to pay to clean it up. You got to clean it up and you got to do repairs and things like that. Right? So think about that. So that cuts in to your profits, because anytime a tenant moves in and moves out, you got to clean it up. You got to see if the appliance is working. You didn't know that they never changed the AC vents. How could they be living like that? And now the AC is all clogged up. That some of y'all know to change the AC vents, right? You didn't know that they wasn't scrubbing the gout. They was flushing rubber duckies down the toilet. So now you have to pay these expenses. With the billboard, you don't have that.
Question, Icy. I'm really interested.
You're enlightened.
I'm enlightened.
Mind blown.
I'm interested. Wow, this is interesting. Now, when it comes to acquisition, right? I know with real estate, you can, if you don't have all the cash up front, you can finance, you know, go through a loan, get a lender and stuff like that. How does that work with the actual billboard?
So,
is it all cash, or can you finance? Or?
So it's going to depend on the seller. Usually the people who are selling their billboards are people who got a lot of them. They're like, listen, I got 15 billboards. I want to get rid of these because I want to use the cash. I don't, milk this cow. I want to use the money to put it somewhere else.
Gotcha.
They may do seller financing.
Okay.
They can say, listen, I'm going to draw up a note. You're going to pay me X, Y, Z. But remember, if they're going to finance it for you, that's cutting into your profit.
Right.
Because you're going to pay interest on that. Ain't nobody financing something for free.
Right. And it also goes back to credit, which is another letter in the acronym, CREAM.
Yeah. But you bring up a good point. I didn't even think about that. Listen, here we go. Yo, look at this. If you have, because people are sitting on cash, especially y'all who done did them EIDLs and PPP loans and know you don't have no business, I'm talking to you. You don't have no business. You sitting on this money, right? So here's the thing. You can buy a billboard from somebody without a credit check. You can get into the real estate game, start earning 38% without a credit check. Come on now. And then what are you doing with the money that you're making from this? Now you're cleaning up your credit. Now you're getting your other ducks in a row. So this is one of those things where it's the cheapest investment. It's the smallest investment. And it requires the least attention, and you don't got to have no good credit. We don't care what your credit is. Cut the check. Go ahead, get the advertising done, and let's move forward. So now let's think. Remember, I'm just dropping a little seed. Let's think about this. If you go large, you're like, dang, Hyacinth, I did this. I bought one for $5,000 and I bought one for $8,500. Now I'm hooked. Now I have, let's say you got 10 billboards.
Okay.
And let's say you paid about, or 12 of them, and you paid about $100,000 collectively for all of the billboards that you have. That monthly income, depending on how you price it, could be like $3,000 a month. So if you got 10 to 12 billboards and you invested over time without $100,000, you're going to be bringing in $36,000 of annual income. Some of y'all listening to me go to work every day, every week, 40 hours a week, and bring home $36,000.
So you telling me it's an opportunity for people to not exchange time for dollars,
Come on now.
have ownership, have write-offs, potentially because it's a business of some sort.
Certainly write-offs. Absolutely.
Write-offs, and still make money.
And you can make money while you exchange your time for dollars. If you still work at somebody's job, that's cool.
Right.
You can make this money over here. You got this working
This is
for
all
you.
on the side. This is another avenue, right? So it's another avenue. Wow.
Wow. So
Wow.
if you bought $100,000 worth of billboards and you're bringing in $3,000 a month or $36,000 a year, that's a 36% return on investment. You getting your money back in 3 years. You getting your money back, all your 100 grand back in 3 years. It's almost passive income, not quite, but it definitely allows you to make money while you meditate. Ain't nobody calling you because they put a rubber ducky down the toilet because your tenant's arguing, tenant A arguing with tenant B. You're not dealing with that.
I like that.
And you don't have to, we don't care about your credit. Where the cash at?
That's out the box thinking. I never heard anything like that at all. I like that.
So this is what we're about on the American Cream. I told you, I'm not with the American dream. Y'all already see it ain't gonna get you where you gotta go. You gotta think outside the box. You see why I say I love real estate? And depending on how you purchase these billboards and the entities that you use, you could really, really maximize your income by paying less taxes on them. But that's a conversation for a different day. But this was to wake you up. The purpose of this was to wake you up, get you thinking, get you motivated, get you inspired to say, you know what, I can do it. I don't have to be at my best to start making a move. You can start making a move from right where you are. You can start making a move while you're working your 9 to 5. You can start making a move while you're rebuilding your credit. You don't have to be perfect to get started. You just got to get started to move into that space of where you want to get to the next level. And this is a great thing for you to consider. Again, I'm registered. I can't tell you if this is for you or not, but it's something for you to research. It's something for you to think about building generational wealth, building a legacy, planting those behaviors and those seeds in your children. Because I don't know about you, but we're not raising no workers over here. All your children should be knowing what an entrepreneur is. You should be, this is a great year for you to sit down and talk to them like, listen, this is why you got to have your own son. This is why you got to have your own daughter. And this is a great way for you to introduce them to that. Let them research it with you. Let them see you researching it. Let them, how much pride are they going to feel when they say, oh, my mama owned that billboard. Oh yeah, that's my mama. They paying my mama for that. Right?
So what I get from that is, instead of leaving the kids a bucket of money, you want to leave them with some intellect, some knowledge and some know-how on what to do and how to make money, how to fend for themselves. Because if you leave them with a big bucket of money and no insight on what to do with the money, then we know the money's just going to go. It's going to fly away. But if we show them and if we instill values in them and we show them, how to build when it comes to finance and financially, that way they can teach their children the same thing. And then your legacy, you started it and your kids are continuing it, so that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, leaving them with money, that's one thing. That's one thing I recommend that everybody listen. You need a life insurance policy because you got to leave your kids with something. Leave a legacy, right? But you also must educate folks, because if people aren't educated, you can leave them $100,000 and then they got Slick Rick coming in telling her she the best thing since sliced bread, and before you know it, that 100 grand is gone in 30 days. You like shining down from heaven like that. I got Jesus, send me back down. Send me back down, because she done got with this fool. And this fool got my baby out here messing up the church money. You know what I mean? So you have to educate your kids. You have to educate them, and you can start educating them in simple ways. The first thing you can start doing is stop giving them everything they want. Oh, I want this, I want that. No. Where your money at? And just say it just like that. Don't feel guilty. Nah, bro, we ain't doing that. You ain't getting that. You got your money? Buy it. Oh, you don't have any money. What are you gonna do to earn some money? Oh, you earned some money, but then you spent it all on what's that, Yo-Gi-Oh cards and something. You spent it all. Well, then I guess you won't be getting this. This is how we got to have this conversation. Right. And then you have to teach them and educate them, because the last thing you want to do is to be shining down from the pearly gates saying, oh my God, I done worked hard, done been strategic, and my daughter or son done got with a fool. Or maybe they is the fool. You never knew they was a fool. They the fool, and they done spent all the money. You don't want to do that. So to recap, we talked about billboard investing today. If I blew Tavares' mind away and we work together, we see each other 5 days a week, I know you all out there listening, this is some good information. Do yourselves a favor and share the information. This is one of those episodes where you definitely want to run the tape back. You want to run a tape back, write down notes, and then decide maybe this is for you, maybe it's not for you. If it's not for you, that's cool, but at least you know, listen, there's so much out there that's available that I don't even know about. What do we say? There are things you know, things you don't know, and things you don't even know that you don't even know. So you didn't even know that you didn't know about this. So imagine how many other things out there that you don't even know about. Right? So it's all about education. We got to get this, man. And let me scroll through Facebook real quick. I see June. Yes, she says, leave the kids with knowledge on how to manage the money. Yes, we're leaving you with knowledge with how to manage and grow the money. We want you to flip the money. Val says 38% is an outstanding return, especially when your bank, some of y'all got $100,000 sitting in the bank talking about, they know me when I go in the bank. Now they're not even letting you in the bank. And they're giving you less than 1% interest. And it's just sitting there. So yes, 38% is an outstanding return. Great info. To Lawrence Moore, we got A.B. Brown, my big brother, Robert Henderson III here. Pamela Sylvain. Hey, Miss Sylvain. Damian Nelson. Yes, Damian Nelson said he loved. It was definitely a great read. Timeless info that's relevant even today. That's the Black Folks and Money audiobook. Patrick, what's up, Pat? Erica Owens, she was in the masterclass last night. She said it was awesome and very informative. If you missed the masterclass, it is on my Facebook page. So make sure you go through and you watch it and you listen to it and take some notes, because we literally drop $1 million worth of game to take you to the next level for free 99. The low price of FREE with 99. Right? So I think I am good. My mentor, Mr. James T. Thomas, and sometimes you think you know that or not so. And sometimes, in some things, I don't have my glasses on, so y'all forgive me. And some things you think you know that is not so, perhaps. We didn't give the phone number out today.
305-825-1444. You guys give us a call. We can speak to you more in detail. If you have a 401k, give us a call and we can,
305-825-1444. You can visit us online, www.the Henderson Financial Group, or www.blackfolksandmoney, or www.hyacinth-henderson on IG. This live is about to end. Thank you so much for tuning in. And to my Facebook family and my YouTube family, thank y'all so much. We do this for you. We give out this information for you. It don't cost you anything but your time to show up on Saturday mornings and feed your financial soul. So what do we want you to do? Share the information. And until next week, listen, be good, stay safe, stay sane, and we'll see you then. Peace.